Welcome into the Superior Dome in Marquette, Michigan, where the Ferris State Bulldogs have traveled to take on the Northern Michigan Wildcats. I'm Max Stevens alongside my broadcast partner Donnie Eden. Now Don, this is the second week in a row that Northern has been matched up against a Division II juggernaut.
That's right, Max. The Bulldogs are ranked 6th nationally and bolster the #1 offense ranked in the entire Division II football. Now, if the Wildcats can pull off this upset, that means it'll be their first win against a ranked opponent since 2012.
And of course, there's more than just football going on at the Dome today. And for more on that, we'll send it down to Callie Hunter on the sidelines. Callie?
Thanks, guys. It is homecoming weekend here at NMU, and I will be speaking to some former Wildcats that have come all the way back to Marquette to support the Cats tonight as they take on the Ferris State Bulldogs. And I'll also be bringing you your sideline coverage for the game. Back to you.
And we welcome you into the Dome here on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Max Stevens alongside Donnie Eden. We've just seen the coin toss. And we're about ready to kick things off here on a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Don, great to have you up here with me.
Thanks, Max. Great to be up here. Feeling this electrical energy that seems to be almost contagious here in the stands. Lots of people on their feet, ready to go. Lots of green and gold out in the stands. Of course, we have a good number of Ferris State Bulldog representatives here in the stands as well.
Don't want to miss out on a great chance to see their team play. I mean, this is a Ferris State team that has come out and lacerated every team they've met thus far.
Of course, yes.
Their average margin of victory this far this year through 3 games, 40 points.
Yeah, that's a bit scary, especially going up against a Wildcat team from your perspective who struggled as of late. Of course, we mentioned the #1 ranked offense for all of Division II football that the Ferris State Bulldogs bolster.
Well, of course, the Bulldogs won the coin toss and elected to defer to the second half. So it'll be Jackson Detur lining up for the Bulldogs, getting ready to boot this one away. And back deep for the Wildcats is DeAndre Caldwell, the halfback. He's lined up at about his own 4-yard line. There's the signal from Detur. And there's the boot. We're underway from the Dome. Caldwell from a 1.5 feet deep in his own end zone. He'll run it out. He gets to about the 20 before he's stopped. The Wildcats will take over just outside their own red zone to start off the game.
Now, usually DeAndre Caldwell, he's a bit of a shifty guy here. Last week, of course, he had a couple good returns, and I think the week before that as well. But this time, just met it right at the 20.
Change in personnel from the Wildcats. Last week we saw the wideout Benjamin Luxus returning the kickoffs. This week Caldwell takes the opening kick. So here's Giles, the sophomore quarterback out of Illinois. Takes this one out of the gun. A halfback screen for Mayon. Not much doing that time, as the first man to meet him out there for the Bulldogs was Adrian Green, the corner.
Yeah, those swing passes out to the halfback just in the flat, they don't really work out too much if you have a very penetrating defense that the Bulldogs seem to have here.
This place worked best when we catch the opposing defense in zone coverage, but in that lineup, Ferris State, of course, was in man. Corners were right there, ready to intercept the screen. Here's Giles on 2nd and 8. Wants over the middle, looking for Dixon. The throw was too high, and it was almost picked off that time by the safety, Najim Hassan.
Again, trying to create some misdirection here that just did not pan out. I think the Bulldogs probably sniffed that out, no pun intended, pretty well here.
Dixon, of course, has been Giles' #1 target all season long. He had the most catches in last week's game against Grand Valley. That time was just too high. Here come the Wildcats on 3rd down and 8. Wildcats not having a lot of success on 3rd down this year, converting just 38% of the time. Giles with plenty of time. He wants the corner, and he's got it! Hauled in by Ryan Knight, the junior wideout.
Now we got to look at this offensive line. We got to give them some love here. He had all day to step back in that pocket and just launch that one deep. What a throw and catch.
An excellent play by Giles that time, who had all day to throw. He stepped up the pocket and made a play downfield. And of course, Knight tightly covered. Was being played very physically by the corner that time. Just made a play deep down the field. Here come the Cats on 1st and 10. They'll feed it to Mayon, and he gets tripped up. Looked like he tripped over his own lineman that time. Unfortunate.
Those are the most frustrating plays. You're about to break one big, and you either run into your own guy or just get tripped up by your own guy. You look back in the huddle and say, man, what was that? What were you doing there?
Looked like he was just trying to cut it too close. He was trying to get around the senior lineman, Ziggy Arlich. Just cut it too close and tripped up probably around the foot or the calf. Here are the Wildcats on 2nd and 9. Run pass option. Giles keeps it, and he's got a space up the middle. And he's brought down from behind. The touchdown saving tackle that time made by it was number 24, Sintel Williams, the sophomore for Ferris State out of Battle Creek, made the touchdown saving tackle.
You know, he kind of made up for it. He's the one who got burned on that Ryan Knight deep bombing pass. Latrell Giles, man, you really have to look out for him. He's a bit of a dual threat quarterback here.
And we'll do our best up here in the booth for you folks, trying to identify these Ferris State players for you. They have 16 players with double numbers as Giles gets sacked on 1st down.
Trying to see who that is. Looks like he just did a quick bull rush spin move kind of combination. Just blew right past him and brought Giles down.
So on 2nd and 12, we'll see what Coach Kyle Nystrom wants to do here. Of course, Coach Nystrom in his 2nd season as the Wildcat head coach, 2-11 overall record. Formerly a Ferris State assistant coach. He was on their staff when they reached the national semifinals in the 2016 season as Giles rolls out to his right, makes one man miss, but can't get away from the second. It's going to be ruled a fumble. It's bouncing around, no whistle yet, still being fought for that time, and it looks like the Wildcats fell on it, and it'll be 3rd down and an awfully long way to go. Giles made one man miss, and I believe it was the linebacker, Sam Habor, who got back there and knocked it loose.
Yeah, it looks like Giles was trying to look past the secondary there, trying to throw it to the corner a bit, and pocket just collapsed behind him, got hit from behind, couldn't see what was happening, and coughed it up.
So there is the signal. It will indeed be 3rd down and a whole awful long way to go. After the sack, Giles, of course, made one man miss before he was blindsided. He coughed up the football, and that's a devastating loss for the Wildcats as it brings up a 3rd down and 33.
These great runs are always good, but you always have to back it up. You have to keep that momentum going.
And there's going to be an illegal substitution penalty as that time it was Connor Brunis coming onto the field late.
Looks like he wasn't really sure what play was being ran or who was. He's a freshman. Of course, those mistakes will be made. You'll have to watch him. He probably won't make that mistake again here in the next.
But of course, Coach Nystrom was on the ball that time, and it should call a timeout before the penalty. You almost have to question the validity of burning a timeout there. I mean, in a 3rd and goal situation where you're on the 33, wouldn't you rather just keep the timeout in this situation?
Yeah, especially against a ranked opponent like this. You really want to save your timeouts. They can really make or break you, and it doesn't really make sense to burn a timeout on a 1st and goal you're probably not going to pick up. So at best, you're going to get a field goal out of this drive, so might as well just pick up the yards you can, take the penalty if you can, try and get the field goal and just move on.
It would have only been a 5-yard penalty. I'm not sure I agree with the call there to burn a timeout and save the 5 yards. And of course, against an opponent like Ferris State, it's so important to keep pace with them early. This is an offense that's averaging 600 total yards of offense per game. Just an absurd level of offensive efficiencies. Giles steps up in the pocket, looks to make a throw. There it goes, too high. He was trying to hit the freshman Benjamin Lutzis.
I did not agree with this play call either here, Max. Again, you're not going to pick up this 1st down, and why bother trying to sling it down the field? That could potentially cause a turnover. which would shoot you in the foot even further.
Well, at any rate, on comes the true freshman, Daniel Reiser, just 18 years old. If he hits this one, it'll be a career long by far, looking at about a 50-yard kick. There it is. Not a chance.
This looks about a bit outside, way too short. Did not get nearly enough leg on that one.
No. Reiser, of course, true freshman. Turned 18 years old back in May. That miss puts him down 2 for 6 kicking field goals on the year, as long as only 21 yards. So now here comes the heralded and quite frankly scary Ferris State offense, led by, of course, the quarterback, Jairou Campbell, the 6'5", 215-pound junior out of Detroit. He won 2 state championships with Cass Tech in high school. And there he goes. Campbell, of course, a dual threat quarterback, as head coach Tony Anness likes to breed. Every starting quarterback to play for Coach Anness has had one game in which they account for at least 5 total touchdowns. Campbell, no exception, as he did so just 2 weeks prior in their game against Findlay. Here's Campbell rolling out to his right. Tries to make a play, and he's brought down handily. Making the stop that time was Jalen Saunders, the senior safety for the Wildcats, but not before first down yardage is picked up for the Bulldogs.
And you mentioned the dual threat quarterback in Jairou Campbell. Nation's top rushing QB. The Bulldogs have had the nation's leading rushing quarterback in D2 football for the 5 of the past 6 years. So yes, definitely in the system, very familiar with dual threat quarterbacks here at Ferris State.
And here they go on 1st and 10. They'll hand it off up the gut. Not a whole lot doing that time for the halfback.
Looks like some pushing, shoving, some extracurriculars after the play. We're probably going to see a lot of that, just given the circumstances that we're in today.
Derek Portis out there at halfback position for the Bulldogs, and one of the big reasons they've been able to put up such crazy numbers offensively is this presence of the Ferris State offensive line. They have 2 preseason All-Americans on their offensive line in Devin Johnson and Nick Sawyer, the left tackle and right guard, respectively. They'll fake the jet sweep, and it's Campbell up the middle. There's another first down for the Bulldogs.
You mentioned this offensive line here, Max. These are just monster human beings. Devin Johnson, 6'7", 310. Tyler Allison, 6'3", 300. Now, these are just very, very big, athletic, strong guys that this Wildcat defense is going to have trouble with today.
This time they'll run the sweep. And he finds room to the outside before he's finally forced out of bounds. It was the D lineman that time, Jacob Dudek, who got all the way out there, caught up to him and brought him down. So the Bulldogs moving with crazy efficiency once again. Here comes the 5th play of the drive. The man in motion. They won't fake it to him. They'll instead just give it back up the middle to Portis. Pickup of only about 2 yards.
More pushing and shoving, and perhaps some frustration from this Wildcats defense. They're just being lit up right now. Just ran right through and punched right in the mouth.
This is, of course, a highly motivated team. Want to pick up a win here on homecoming in front of the biggest crowd we've had all year. They'll fake the sweep. It's Campbell up the middle again. Into the secondary he goes before he's met by the free safety. That's Brady Hansen, who came up big in the game against Grand Valley last week. Led the team in tackles. He's leading the team in tackles this season.
Enter Wildcat on the play. Number 5, Jalen Saunders, of course, the safety who had several big plays during the home opener. A couple of pass deflections and a dropped interception.
He was doing his best to get off the field that time and just couldn't make it all the way over. We saw him rushing, hurrying, trying to get off the field before he collapsed, before he made it all the way to the sideline. We sure do hope he's all right, as it looks like his left calf, left ankle perhaps, being tended to.
You know, injuries of any sort are, of course, unfortunate, but especially for a guy who's definitely been one of the pillars of this Wildcat defense, going down so early in such a big game.
He's going to have to be helped off the field, not putting any weight on that left leg at all. Sure do hope he's all right. talking about this game, and early on, Ferris State is showing why they're able to put up such crazy offensive numbers. It's that offensive line. They've yet to throw the football, and yet they've marched all the way from the Northern Michigan 33-yard line. Now they're inside the 10, and in only 5 plays.
Classic hard-nosed football. Let's try and get your biggest guys to try and move my biggest guys, and we'll see who wins.
In Ferris State, of course, we mentioned the size of that offensive line. They're winning the battle up front. Not that time, though, as Campbell tries to jam it up the middle. Not much doing there. Makes it down to about the 6 for a 2nd and goal situation for the Bulldogs.
After 2 big runs by Campbell, the Ferris State quarterback, rather, completely different school, you can see the defense definitely trying to adjust and keeping their eye on Jairu Campbell.
Campbell, of course, leading a up-tempo offense. There he calls the audible, switches the formation. He's got 3 men out wide left. He won't go to him, though. He wants the fade, and it's caught for a touchdown. It was number 16, I believe, out there for the Bulldogs, who hauled it in. That is Cy Barnett, the redshirt freshman.
Very interesting play design. Have 3 receivers split out right, and the one to the left. Have the main focus of the defense, of course, shift to the right side with all those receivers. Look back towards the one-on-one coverage on the left side, and boom, back shoulder fade, touchdown.
So it took the Bulldogs only 6 plays to go 67 yards and punch it into the end zone for the first score of the game. Of course, we saw just the lethality of their junior quarterback, Jairu Campbell. We mentioned ran a very similar offense at Detroit Cass Tech in high school. He won 2 state championships with Cass Tech in the high school level. Dual threat guy. 2 weeks ago accounted for 6 total touchdowns. Just the kind of quarterback Tony Anness likes to have in his system. Of course, can't overstate the success he's had at Ferris State in his 7th season on staff. 63-14 overall record.
Can argue with that win-loss record as they drive it through, and it is good. Cats are down 7-0 against the Bulldogs, 8:09 in the first.
Just a scary efficient Ferris State offense. Jake Turrell, of course, converting the extra point there. He's only had to kick 1 field goal so far this year. They've only been held to a field goal 1 time.
That's just frightening to say if you're this Wildcat defense listening in. That's just, they made it look easy, way too easy. It's almost like if a high school team came to a Pee Wee league and tried to throw in some plays there.
And of course, a big reason for their success down by the goal is they don't feel the need to go to Deturro. They've converted every 4th down try they've gone for so far this year. Granted, they've only attempted 3, but needless to say, you come up successful every time. You're just going to keep going back to the well until the well stops giving. There's the boot from Deturro. It's Caldwell again, fields it at about the 5. He'll try and run it back to the middle. And he's got some space in the open field. He's getting a block. Finally, he's brought down. He was getting a block from Connor Brunis. Normally a fullback out there on special teams. A big block up the field and a great return from DeAndre Caldwell before he was finally cut down by Bryce Watkins for the Bulldogs at the 42-yard line.
There's that shiftiness I was speaking about from DeAndre Caldwell. Go one way, flip the field, find some blockers, break some tackles, boom, great return.
So here come the Wildcats on their 2nd trip out. Giles takes this one out of the gun. He'll feed it to Mayon up the middle. He's met promptly by the linebacker that time. It was Liam Daly for the Bulldogs bringing him down. Gain of about 4.
Jake Mayon, his name you'll probably hear a lot today. He's been the, of course, the quintessential feature back, if you will, for this Wildcat offense. It has been for a while, and he's been producing, so why not just give it to him even more?
He ranks 4th in Division II in total rush yards. He's averaging 144 per game, found the end zone 3 times. And there he is again, trying to try his luck up the middle, picks up about 3 yards on the 2nd down and 7 play. Mayon, of course, coming into today's game, 693 yards away from the school rushing record.
Yeah, Max, I don't think he'll break that today here against this the Bulldog defense. That'd be wild, though, running for 634 yards in one game.
Certainly the type of production the Wildcats might need against a Bulldog team that looks to run up the score and beat you. We mentioned their average margin of victory, 40 points. They're putting up about 53 per game. Giles looks like he lost the football that time. Trying to make a play down the field, slipped out of his hands and just downed before it even went anywhere.
Yeah, first I looked to see if anyone was around him or anyone, managed to bump him or hit him or anything. It looks like he just slipped right out of his fingertips. And that's those are plays that you do not want to waste, especially against this very, very good Bulldogs team.
So that'll bring out John Kaczynski in the punt unit for the Wildcats after a quick 3 and out. Daylon Stevenson back to return for the Bulldogs. And he's down before he can go anywhere. Inside the 10-yard line, so excellent special teams play there from the Wildcats that time to stop the return. The Bulldogs will take over from about the 8-yard line.
Now, those are the positive plays that the Wildcats will take all day. Small things that set them up, for the best position to win in this situation. But with the way that this Bulldogs offense has been moving, I don't think they're too concerned about field position of any sort.
600 total yards per game. Just do 6 down and backs, goal line to goal line, and there you go. That's the Ferris State offense.
Those are video game numbers.
Video game numbers from Jairo Campbell. He looks to take the snap out of the gun. He's got 4 wideouts, but they'll run the sweep. And breaking one tackle is the halfback out across first down yardage and out across the 25-yard line. It's the halfback Marvin Campbell, the sophomore out of Detroit, Michigan.
Marvin Campbell, very big, low to the ground kind of guy, very shifty and powerful. Just plows his way forward for a very, very nice game.
5'10", 210 pounds, certainly a power back type build. And there he goes again, this time up the middle, breaking another tackle before he's brought down from behind. That time it was Troy Mayon, the defensive captain for the Wildcats, bringing him down.
Was that Marvin Campbell or was that Earl Campbell, the famous running back from the 70s? Very powerful guy as well. Just breaking tackles left and right.
So 2 plays and 2 first downs out on this trip for the Bulldogs. Campbell looks to throw this time. He was trying to hit his man out to the left. He was looking for Wyatt Plate, but he slipped, and Plate was not on his feet when the throw got to him. Second down and 10 for the Bulldogs now. And this time with a halfback to his right. Quarterback draw, there he goes. And a good job wrapping him up that time as he tried to get out to his left. The true freshman safety, Anthony Ladd, wrapped him up and didn't let him get away.
Picked up the blitz very nice that time by Jairo Campbell. Now I've noticed this Bulldogs offense has been running almost the same formation almost every single play. Let's line them up in the shotgun, maybe 3 or 4 receivers split out wide. And even against the blitz sometimes they're able to stop it, not that time.
Wildcats showing blitz. And they'll feed it off to the opposite side. It's Campbell again. And he's lucky to make it back to the line of scrimmage, and it's Troy Mayon again, stopping him after a pickup of about 2 yards.
Very nice tracking tackle that time by Troy Mayon.
And that'll bring out the Bulldog punt unit for the first time today. Day Turl working overtime. The Bulldogs special teams, both the place kicker and the punter is Day Turl.
Something tells me he doesn't give much time punting the ball in football games. That's probably why he's doing both.
There it is, a rugby-style kick, big run-up, low line drive kick. And the Bulldogs recovered it. It bounced off the leg of one of the Wildcat special teams defenders, and the Bulldogs picked it up.
Looks like it grazed the leg of a gunner running down. Just wasn't aware that it touched him at all.
No.
Next thing you know, there's a scrum and there's a pile.
Wasn't
Bulldogs
ready.
recover.
Wasn't ready for the low bouncing kick, and it's going to cost the Wildcats dearly as the Bulldogs essentially picked up almost 40 yards on what was supposed to be a punt.
Very smart play by that Bulldogs special teamers. Very, very smart. Catch them off guard, trying to hit one of them with the ball. Recover it, first down in Wildcat territory.
A huge momentum shifting play early on in this game, and a devastating one for the Wildcat offense that was looking to get out there. Now this defense has to stay out on the field. As here we have our head official explaining the ruling. The ruling is indeed first down Ferris State. They got the ball at the Wildcat 21-yard line just outside the red zone. Already up a score. Not much room for the Wildcat defense to budge here. They'll send a man in motion and fake the jet sweep. There comes the blitz. Campbell escapes it and dumps it off. Up the sideline that time, and forced out of bounds was Javon Shaw, the junior out of Farmington Hills, Michigan. Will give a first and goal situation for the Bulldogs as Campbell narrowly escaping the blitz that time from Jack Rieger. Here they come on first and goal. Campbell keeps it, and he's met at the line. It was Jack Rieger again. This time makes the stop.
Jairo Campbell, very, very shifty kind of guy, very skinny and quick, but also kind of strong, breaking tackles from a sure blitz and just dumping it short for a nice pickup. Nice awareness by Jairo Campbell on that play.
Stands at 6'5", weighs in at 215 pounds. Certainly a quarterback, a sizable quarterback, capable of moving. Here come the Bulldogs, looking to keep their foot on the gas early. He wants the fade again, and he's got it. Another Bulldog touchdown. This time, the man to make the reception was Javon Shaw, and it's another Bulldog touchdown.
This Wildcats defense is very, very thin at corner and in the secondary, so we'll like to see if the Bulldogs here like to throw a lot of back shoulder fades like they did in the previous touchdown as well.
Mm-hmm. You see there Shaw with relative ease hauling in that pass. It was Mayon in the coverage. Here comes DeTurl out to attempt his second PAT of the day. You should note he's only had to kick one field goal, remains perfect on extra points, however. The one field goal he did have to kick, he did make. And this one, he stays perfect on his PATs. So Wildcats find themselves down 14-0 early. Shades of the Grand Valley State game we saw last week where the Wildcats fell behind early and just were never quite able to dig themselves out of that hole.
That's one word, momentum. And so far, that's all the Bulldogs have right now. Just steamrolling this defense, and very, very tight, staunch defense.
We saw the big momentum play there was the punt that the Bulldogs managed to recover after it went off the leg of a Wildcat gunner and became a live football. So if you include that play, it was an 8-play, 92-yard drive. Of course, a lot of those yards can be attributed to that punt that was recovered by the Bulldogs. But nonetheless, there's the efficiency, again, that we tell you. Only 8 plays, granted one of which was supposed to be a punt, and they marched 92 yards and punch it into the end zone once again.
Superior Dome very loud right now. Love it.
Here's DeTurl's kick. It's a high and short kick inside the 5-yard line. Caldwell has trouble fielding it, but he escapes one tackle and is stopped. It was Omari McCauley bringing him down just inside the 20.
Got to keep your hands on the football. Number one way to make or break your special teams is fumbling the football. Like we saw earlier with the punt And now again we see with the kick return, even though he recovered it, he still didn't pick up very many yards. Now his offense will suffer because of it.
Jay Turrell, of course, showing he's kicking short today. Doesn't want to give the Wildcats a free start on the 25. He wants to play special teams as they'll fake the handoff to Mayon. Giles steps up in the pocket, being pursued. Makes a few men miss before finally being brought down that time by the big man, number 99 for the Bulldogs. That is Sam Yordot.
6'4", 305. That is a monster of a human being down there.
The junior out of Jackson, Michigan. Ferris State getting their pick of the litter from downstate talent.
Someone down in the field, looks like number 60 of the Wildcats. Gabe Bauman, sophomore offensive line. Limping off the field under his own power, but still not putting any weight on that left ankle.
And he'll join Saunders, who still has not gotten up off the medical table. They'll both be attended to now. This Wildcat team suffering a few injuries early on in this game. 2:45 still to go in the first quarter. Here come the Wildcats on 2nd down and 3.
Very solemn crowd now in the Superior Dome.
Here's the snap to Giles. They'll feed it to Mayon, a stretch run to the outside. Tripped up in the backfield, but manages to dive forward and pick up a first down for the Wildcats.
What makes Mayon is so great a running back is just give him a little bit of a hole. He's a very shifty guy, very low to the ground, low center of gravity, so just give him a sliver of a hole. He'll slip right through there. This time just gets tripped up and falls down.
A true workhorse back. One of his specialties, yards after contact. But now he'll take a short rest as Caldwell checks into the game. Here's a run pass option from Giles. He'll keep it himself and cut up the middle of the field. He gets tripped up at the line, but managing to dive forward after Austin Edwards, the D lineman for Ferris State, got him around one of his legs.
You know, with this offense, it's the small things that you really want to get right. That time, not a first down run. You know, nice pickup against this very good Bulldogs defense, and just keep working from there. Build upon it.
The Wildcats moving the ball with some success here on this drive. 1 first down already, and here's another 2nd down. 4 to go. Now Giles. He'll fake the handoff to Caldwell, and he hits Dixon over the middle, and he's out across the 45-yard line. There's his favorite target, Dallas Dixon, the junior out of Arizona.
Dallas Dixon is a very quick route runner. He's very, very precise in his route running abilities. You saw the man-on-man coverage on the left side. Once he sees that, Giles is probably smiling.
Dixon, of course, the sophomore out of Phoenix, Arizona. An awful long way from home for Dixon, but he makes the big play there. This time they'll feed it off up the gut. Nothing doing that time for Caldwell. Of course, not something you want to see on the sideline. Dixon trying to stretch out his legs. Walk off perhaps a cramp or some other form of minor injury behind the Wildcat bench. We sure do hope he's all right. He's the big threat in this Wildcat passing offense.
Definitely a Des Bryant-esque, if you will, to this Wildcats offense. Very, very integral part of this offense.
Here comes Giles on 2nd and 10. Fakes the pitch and tries to dive up the middle before he loses his helmet and gets out to about the 50.
Now, rules dictate that looks like Giles will have to sit out a play since his helmet fell off.
And we do have a penalty marker down. We'll see what this happens to be. Very likely to be a hands to the face or face mask penalty. And it is indeed a face mask on the Bulldogs, which would explain the loss of Giles' helmet, of course.
Very costly penalty by this Bulldogs defense. I don't care how good your defense is, you cannot give up 15-yard penalties like that consistently. Now the
So-
Wildcats will cross the 50-yard line and try and punch it in here.
And Giles, of course, gets to stay on the field now, considering the penalty and that his helmet was not knocked off as the result of a play, as we have a timeout down on the field.
Appears to be the end of the first quarter here.
Time has expired at the end of the first quarter. We'll be back with the second quarter of action right after this.
Students can learn in lecture halls anywhere.
But here, we're doing cutting-edge brain tumor research.
You can ask yourself, how involved do I want to be?
I want to be really involved.
Not this involved.
How's this?
Better.
Classes are small,
Hey Steve, aren't you supposed to be in class?
and students get to direct their own story.
Cut!
Located in a beautiful place,
Yeah.
and it's surprisingly affordable.
Actually, it's the second most affordable in the state.
And it's comfortable here. Like, really comfortable.
So start your story today at Northern Michigan University.
And we welcome you back into the Superior Dome, where we're just about ready to begin the second quarter of play. The Bulldogs up 14-0 on the Wildcats. However, the Wildcats assembling a nice drive here. They're 6 plays deep, started on their own 17. They've made it all the way to the Bulldogs' 32-yard line, and for the first time today, well, the second time today, rather, excuse me, are getting ready to threaten on offense.
Like I said earlier, it's the small things. You really want to analyze everything. Find what works, capitalize on that. Find out what doesn't work. Get rid of it immediately. Adjust immediately. Stay ahead of the times. Stay with your momentum.
And one of the big things we didn't expect to see in that first quarter was just the effectiveness of the run-pass option for the Wildcats there, or the run-pitch option, read option, if you will, and just given the size of this Ferris State defensive line, they've got some big fellas up front. 6'5", 275 on the D end, and 6'4", 295 are the tackles. Jamil Pollard and, of course, Sam Yordat. 6'4", 305 as the give is up to Caldwell. And he gets it across the 35-yard line down to the 34.
And that might explain why they're lining up in the shotgun a lot. I don't think Giles has lined up under center yet this game. By doing that, you actually buy yourself a little bit more time for your quarterback and running back, whoever is receiving the ball.
Wildcats, of course, the counter to that big defensive line is not to line up and try to run the ball down their throats, going with more of a spread offense approach. Here come the Wildcats on 2nd down and 6. Giles takes the snap and he'll fake. Play action. Caldwell picks up the blitz, tries to make a throw on the run, and he does. It's complete. Out and down inside the red zone. Pass is caught that time by number 87 for the Wildcats. That's Rayvon Johnson, the sophomore out of Willowbrook, Illinois.
Terrell Giles is the definition of a mobile quarterback. Even if you break down the pocket, get him out running right or left. Get him rolling out, pitch and catch. Nice first down.
And we saw Caldwell did a great job that time to pick up the blitz from the linebacker, John Higgins. Giles rolls out to his right. Wants the end zone, and it's overthrown. He was looking for Ryan Knight, but it was just out of the reach of the receiver. So 2nd down and 10 from the Ferris State 20-yard line.
And this is really where it gets pretty difficult here in the red zone. You have to try and deceive the defense a bit. Throw when they're expecting pass when they're expecting a run.
Mayon back in the game. They'll give it to him. Tries to go up the middle, finds nothing there. Giles tries to make a block on the edge, but can't quite get there. Doing a great job to wrap up Mayon that time was Deshaun Thrower, the blitzing safety out of Muskegon.
Could not break that tackle, unfortunately. Tried to throw out a stiff arm, just could not break it. Very nice pursuit by this Bulldogs defense.
3rd down and 10. The situation now for the Wildcats with just over 13 minutes to play in the second quarter. Down 14-0. Cats, this is a big first down here. Big opportunity to get a first down. You look at it, even from right here, this would be a new career long for Daniel Reiser if Coach Nystrom elects to bring out the field goal unit. But first, he wants a timeout. So Coach Nystrom takes a timeout. They want to talk it over. 12:53, the time still on the clock as our young Wildcats in attendance.
Flexing on everyone, show them how it's done.
We'll like to see what Coach Nystrom wants to do here. As we've seen, Wildcats have been moving the ball very effectively this drive. This will be the 11th play of the drive coming out of the timeout. This is a big one, though. Even from right here, if you have to bring on the field goal unit, this is a new career long for Daniel Reiser's career long. 21 yards. Granted, he's only had 3 games. We mentioned he's a true freshman, barely 18 years old. So, kid's got a long career in front of him. But in a game like this, and in a situation like this, against a team like this, you figure you have to come away with 7 here.
Yeah, for a guy like him, you definitely have to step up. They're waiting for, him to definitely come into his own, finally make a field goal, especially with a game like this. You're down by 2 touchdowns, just get on the board. So definitely going to have to expect something from either this Wildcat offense or at least their kicker, Daniel Reiser.
And a great sight for the Wildcats as Dixon, who was hobbling behind the bench earlier, is back out onto the field. Giles will take the snap. Caldwell picks up a blitz on the outside as Giles tries to step up in the pocket, nothing doing before he's finally brought down in the backfield. It was number 26 for the Bulldogs who got back there to make a play. That is Kamal March, the junior linebacker.
Now, those are definitely plays you do not want to give up on any circumstance, really, but especially now when you're down by 2 scores and you have nothing on the board, you definitely do. The last thing you want to give up is either a sack or a turnover. Sack that time.
So here comes Reiser, out to attempt a 33-yard field goal from the right hash. Boots up. And he splits the uprights. A new career long for Daniel Reiser.
Cats finally on the board. It wasn't a touchdown, but at least he got something to build upon.
And something to build upon for that young man. That's his new career long as he improves 3 for 7 in field goals on the year. As we take a look at the replay, splitting the uprights that time was Reiser from the right hash. The Wildcats managed to come away with some points. Wildcats, of course, have not been shut out since 2010, and that will not be changing today.
Looks like Dallas Dixon is walking to the locker room. He was hobbling after those last couple of plays, and now he will be checked at in the locker room right now by some medical officials.
Certainly not what you want to see for this Wildcat offense who relied on him. He had a big play over the middle early on in that drive. So the 12-play drive is capped off by the Wildcats with a made field goal. Here's Reiser. Boots it away. Back deep to receive for the Bulldogs. It's Deshaun Thrower. And they'll stop him out at about the 25.
Decent coverage there by the Wildcat special teamers. Very dangerous returner they have for this Bulldogs special teams, but sniffed out well, maintained your lanes, made the tackle. Very nice.
So here come the Bulldogs from their own 26, have yet to be kept out of the end zone on their 3rd timeout. They'll fake the handoff up the middle. It's a keeper for Campbell, and he's got space. Watch out. It's a foot race. And he's brought down finally just into Wildcat territory at about the 35-yard line. He was finally dragged out of bounds by Anthony Ladd, the true freshman safety.
And as the play broke down, you can kind of feel all the air just come right out of the stadium from all the Wildcat fans. Very disappointing play by this defense.
Of course, Ladd took a good angle there and saved the touchdown. Campbell wants to throw, and he's got a man wide open to the outside. Making a play and making one man miss. It's the slot receiver, number 3 for the Bulldogs, Keandre Craig, the 6'5 senior.
Back to this formation I was talking about earlier. 4 receivers split out wide, lined up in the shotgun. Now, even if you have the coverage downfield set, if he decides to tuck and run with it, he can pick up yards just like he did previously.
And there he is, tucking and running with it again, although this time tries to put on the moves and can't quite escape from Jacob Dudek. Red shirt freshman out there getting some reps on defense. Couldn't quite get away from him that time. That, of course, only the 3rd play of this drive that has already traveled from its own 26. They'll run the sweep. Trying to jam it back up the middle was Robert Thomas III.
Let's look at this situation here. I think if the Wildcats hold the Bulldogs to at least a field goal, you could keep that as a victory in and itself. Since this Bulldogs offense is just so potent and effective.
We mentioned, of course, Jackson Day-Turl, the kicker for the Bulldogs, has only had to kick 1 field goal this year, and he made it from about 31 yards out. And here they come on 3rd down. 2 penalty markers are down as Javon Shaw took the jet sweep out to the right. It was 1st down yardage, but we'll have to see what these penalty markers indicate. Holding against the Bulldogs is the call, and that'll set him back 10 yards.
Wildcat fans seem to be pleased with that penalty, give them a bit more breathing room for this defense.
A costly penalty for the Bulldogs there. Bulldogs, a very efficient and well-disciplined team. Of course, Tony Anness runs a tight ship. Not a team that gets flagged a lot. They were flagged only twice in last week's matchup against Northwood. So here's Campbell out of the gun on 3rd and 16. Play action.
And he slipped up.
He slipped, and right there to down him was Jeremy Statz, the junior for the Wildcats. So excellent pressure coming there from the Wildcats defensive line as they hold, and they're going to force Day-Turl to come on out.
Very, very big play by this Wildcats defense. Definitely a momentum shifter in their favor. Definitely something they can build upon from there.
We saw just a ton of penetration on that play. Statz got back there real quick, and with the play clock winding down, the Bulldogs might have to burn a timeout here, and they do. Couldn't get the special teams unit out there in time, so Coach Anness has got to burn a timeout with 9 minutes and 4 seconds still on the clock in the 2nd quarter. Fourth down and 26 with the ball on the 37-yard line. You estimate this is about a, 52-yard kick for Day-Turl?
I think that's a difficult kick for, even people in the pros or even in, Division I football. That's a very difficult kick to make, so we'll see what happens here. If I were the special teams coach, I'd send someone out by the field goal and try and return this field goal if they do not make it.
Does anybody happen to have the phone number of Chris Davis, who returned the kick 6 for Auburn in the 2013 Iron Bowl? Can we get him out there in the Wildcat end zone here?
He might be busy today. We never know.
The hold will be at the 39-yard line, which will make it a 49-yard attempt for Jackson Day-Turl. There's the boot. Plenty of distance. No, but it's wide right.
Very good stance by this Wildcat defense. They came out, they got burned on a couple big plays, but they came out on top during this drive. Very nice adjustments here.
So we saw the holding penalty that time, extremely costly for the Bulldogs, moved them back 10 yards, got the 1st down called back, and then of course the sack from Statz, and now the missed field goal. He got plenty of leg underneath it, just was a little off to the right, as we could see there on the replay.
If you saw on the replay, it looked like no one really tried busting in there and blocking the kick. Any sort of penalty would give the favor even bigger towards the Bulldogs. Didn't want to risk anything and just accept the field goal missed.
They'll try and run a pitch to Caldwell, and absolutely nothing doing that time as he is mobbed by the defensive end for the Bulldogs. Will Hunt, the linebacker that time, blitzing from the outside, coming in to make a play.
Only picked up a block or two here, found one hole, but immediately met with at least 3 or 4 Bulldogs. Very, very disciplined and swarming defense the Bulldogs bolster.
Bulldogs also very deep at the linebacker position. They'll elect to play 3 here. They'll give it to Caldwell. Running left side, punches through into the secondary, and it's a pickup of about 7 yards for Caldwell on 2nd down.
Caldwell and Mayon are very both shifty guys, like I've said before, but again, they can definitely lower the shoulder and put the boom on, if you will, some of these defenders, like Caldwell did just there. Very nice run.
So here come the Wildcats on a critical 3rd down. We mentioned the Wildcats struggling on 3rd down coming into this game, converting only 38% of the time. This is a big one right here after the 12-play drive last time out. Got to keep the momentum going offensively. Pressure in the backfield. Giles gets stripped, and the Bulldogs have got it. What pressure from the Ferris State defensive line that time. Getting back there and recovering the fumble was the big man, number 99 for the Bulldogs. It's Sam Girodot, the junior out of Jackson, Michigan, fell on the football, and that's a momentum killer.
And Giles had no time whatsoever. Couldn't make any of his reads. He couldn't even check his check down man. Almost right when he took the snap, took one step to the right, and he was met immediately by 3 different defenders.
So the Bulldogs will take over from the Wildcat 34-yard line, who just made a stand and held this Bulldogs offense. Campbell looks to the outside. He's got a man just out of reach, off the outstretched arms of Keandre Craig. Couldn't haul that one in.
Just like those 2 scores earlier, it looks like the Bulldogs are attacking those corners. Bust them outside, trying to catch someone running a back shoulder fade. And that time it didn't work out for them. Wildcats definitely making some adjustments here today.
Not an extremely accurate throw from Campbell, but certainly a catchable ball. That time from Craig, just couldn't quite haul that one in. Man in motion. They'll give it to him on the sweep. Javon Shaw on the jet sweep gets out to about the 27-yard line, and that'll bring up a 3rd and short situation for the Bulldogs. Held out of the end zone for the first time on their last timeout after the missed Jay Turrell field goal. 3rd down and 5. Campbell looks to throw. It's a short screen play, and it mishandled that time by the intended target. He was looking for Dion Earls on the wide receiver screen.
It's a nice setup that time, just, drops it, and that just kind of kills the entire play. Nice setup, nice blockers out front. Probably could have picked up the 1st down, but very nice statement here by the Wildcats, although it was more luck that time rather than them actually defending.
Couldn't quite haul it in. A lot of players getting into it after the play there. Dropped the pass. There was still a big pileup. Here come the Bulldogs going for it on 4th down. They're 3 for 3 this year. Going for it on 4th down is Coach Ines. Delivers some signs.
I can barely hear you, Max. There's a lot of whistling.
There's
and shouting.
Campbell in the audio. No, couldn't
Flag
get
on
it
the
off
play.
in time.
The Wildcat fans doing their part in this game. Looks like a false start on the offense. Or perhaps a timeout, rather.
No, looks like Coach Ines burned a timeout. Couldn't get the play off in time. Wildcat fans were making a lot of noise inside the dome. Caused a miscommunication on the O-line.
Lots of pushing and shoving after each and every play. You can kind of understand why. Ferris State coming in, hoping to just completely obliterate this Wildcats team. Wildcats, of course, playing for homecoming in front of almost the entirety of Marquette, Michigan, and playing with lots of heart today. So pushing and shoving almost natural at this point.
So coming back out of the fourth down, for the fourth down play will be the Bulldogs. 4th and 5 from the Wildcat 28-yard line. They're electing to go for it. Have yet to be denied on 4th down this season. They're 3 for 3.
And the fans are really up and at it right now.
And here come the Wildcat fans making noise. 4th down and 5. Campbell ready to take this one out of the gun. Perhaps trying a hard count there, drawing an offside. Coach Ines gives the signal. Campbell changing things at the line of scrimmage. They'll send Shaw in motion. They'll throw for it. Fade, and it's caught for the touchdown. Bulldog touchdown that time. They get it out to the receiver. It was number 15, Brett Mooney.
Nick Barnes on the coverage, one-on-one. Of course, I figured they would take a shot downfield, try and catch the Wildcats off guard, and of course it worked. Looks like Nick Barnes almost just pulled up, looking for the ball here, slowed down a bit, tried out stretching his arms, and that's where they created the separation for the touchdown.
You'll have to check that. It was number 16, Cy Barnett, for the Bulldogs on the touchdown catch. Barnes just got burnt on the coverage, so they surrender the 4th down touchdown throw to Barnett. We saw that a lot from Barnes in the game last week against Grand Valley. Just getting burnt on those throws into the end zone.
And I bet you that the Ferris State coaches were watching film and definitely pointing some of that out. Definitely some corner issues here for the Wildcats defense, and just exploited it that time. Very disappointing play.
The wind has totally been knocked out of the Superior Dome as what was a 4th and 5 situation with a great opportunity to slow down the Bulldogs quickly. Worst case scenario for the Wildcats, as we see there. Barnett just hauls it in.
Campbell had all day to throw that time. Perfect pocket. Didn't have to move around at all. Almost planted his feet that time. Just cocked back and threw. 6 points.
So here is Day Turl, ready to boot this one away for the Bulldogs. Change in personnel back there. It'll be Lutzis returning the kick instead of Caldwell, who we saw earlier. He fields it at the 8. Making a play to his left side before he's tripped up.
Some more pushing and shoving. Possibly a fight almost broke out there on the right side.
John Higgins, the sophomore linebacker, making the play for the Bulldogs special teams that time as the Wildcats will take over.
Tempers flaring and frustrations of obviously boiling over after each play here by the Wildcats. Something that they definitely want to keep in check. That can shoot your team in the leg down the stretch. Some costly penalties might come down the road.
The Wildcats will look to get things moving before the half, as before the play, before the teams are even set, a penalty marker is thrown. It'll be an illegal substitution against the Wildcats. We saw Coach Nystrom burn a timeout earlier in the game to prevent the same penalty. This time, not doing it with only 1 timeout remaining and 6.5 to play here in the second quarter.
See, now if you get the ball trying to mount a special a drive towards the end, now you're not going to be able to. Only have 1 timeout.
As Giles hits Dallas Dixon on the comeback route. Dixon mouthing off with the man in coverage, Adrian Green.
He's been on and off the sideline here. Dallas Dixon with some sort of injury. Seems to be okay now, walking under his own power. Maybe got taped up, iced up. Now he's ready to go.
So a 12-yard gain on the comeback route that time for the Wildcats. So they'll look very important to put some form of points on the board here, especially with Ferris State deferring. There's the option from Giles again. This time elects to keep it. Barrels forward. Picks up 3 yards, and that's good enough for a Wildcat first down.
You know, Latrell Giles is not a very big guy. I mean, he's just a quarterback. And kind of surprises people when he tucks it under, just tries to power his way through for the first down like he did that time. And that time it worked.
He likes to keep the ball on those option plays. Doesn't like pitching it out too often. Here's Giles again. Out of the gun. Play action. He wants Dixon again. Heaves it up. And Dixon, oh no! It was knocked away at the last second. It looked like Dixon was going to come down with it, but Adrian Green kept his hands in there and knocked it away.
One word for that play, finish. And that's exactly what this Bulldogs defense did. Even though he got burnt on the coverage, even though he almost made the completion, keep your hand in there and finish the play, even coming down. Perfect play by the defense.
And it was an excellent throw by Giles that time, putting it only where Dixon could come up with it, and Green just keeps his hand in there and manages to yank it away from Dixon at the last possible second. As back down on the field, it's Lutzis in motion. 2nd down and 10 for the Wildcats. They'll give it to Mayon this time, who makes a move to the outside. He's got space, plowing his way out to the first down marker, making a couple of guys miss, and of course picking up some big yards after contact.
Alex Dixon once again limping off the field, but very nice run by Jake Mayon. Of course, everyone knows that he's the main focus of this Wildcat offense, and that time he managed to use it to his advantage and pick up the first down.
Mayon, of course, 4th in the country in rush yards per game at 144. Entered today's contest 693 yards away from a school record.
And his dominance, of course, was also carried over from last year. He was the GLIAC Offensive Back of the Year last season.
Here are the Wildcats on 1st and 10. From their own 47-yard line. Giles looks to throw. Over the middle, he wants Lutzis. The throw is behind him, but Lutzis hauls it into Bulldog territory at the Ferris State 40-yard line.
Benjamin Lutzis is a personal favorite player of mine. He definitely is going to be a very integral part of this Wildcats offense for the years to come. He's only a freshman. He's out here making plays. Of course, the first couple games of the season, he was obviously a factor in every single facet of this game, both special teams and offense.
You saw on the replay that time, just did an excellent job. The throw was behind him, did a great job to haul it in as Mayon finds room up the gut before being met and brought down by Austin Edwards.
Better late than never. This offense is rolling. Here we can see them just play after play, picking up first down after first down. Very confident in each play. Very nice.
2nd down and 4. From the Ferris State 33-yard line. They'll give it to Mayon. Nothing doing that time as the Bulldog defensive line was ready for that rush. We see Will Hunt, the linebacker, fired up after making the stop.
I think with every play that Will Hunt's been in, he's been doing that. That could definitely get under the skin of some of the Wildcat players. Probably leads to some more pushing and shoving after each play.
3rd down and 2 yards to go. This is a big one for the Wildcats. They'll run the option. Giles looked to pitch, and he's met promptly, wrapped up and brought down, but there's the flag. Holding on to the quarterback for too long that time was number 91 for the Bulldogs. That's the big defensive tackle, Austin Simpson.
They'll call that every single time. In every single league or level of football, they are definitely trying to protect the ball carrier more, especially here. And flag comes down. Great play by the officials.
And they've met, talking things over. We'll see what the call ends up being. Of course, certainly, judging by the time and the position where the flag was thrown from, you'd assume it would be some sort of personal foul on the tackle.
Usually personal fouls, no matter where it was thrown. It's a 15-yard penalty and a first down, no matter where it's put at. So we'll see what happens.
So the call is unnecessary roughness against Simpson, and that'll move the stick. Another costly penalty for the Bulldogs, who last week only were flagged twice.
And I know you want to get all fired up and make it, a play for your team, especially for Austin Simpson, the one on the tackle there, but you definitely have to play smart. Don't hold on to the quarterback for too long. Don't throw him down like you just did, and you'll put yourself in a better position to win.
So the personal foul will move the Wildcats into the red zone. They reached the red zone on their first drive, where they came up empty after a missed riser field goal.
Referee still conversing about something.
A brief hold-up in the action here.
It's a whole referee conference on the field there.
Just cannot emphasize how important it is for the Wildcats to come away with some points here. Time winding down in the second quarter. You give the score here, with about 3.5 minutes to play before the half. Ferris State won the toss. They deferred. Got to come away with something here if you want to stay in the game.
No matter what, you want a touchdown at least. Field goal at this stage in the game, you're down 21-3. You need more than just 3 points here. At that point, that's just damage control if you just decide to kick a field goal.
The officials still talking things over. Not sure what exactly the debate is here. So you can see now they're getting into it.
Head referee talking to some of the coaches on the Ferris side. Lots of confused people. No one really knows what's really going on right here. Of course, it'd be a great way to cap off 3.5 left in this half with a touchdown. Some very good things to work upon in the locker room after the half is over with.
As we see again there, the great catch by Lutz. It's just an incredible job to haul in that ball behind him. You see he did it with just one hand. The officials still talking things over down on the sideline. Here comes the head referee.
Calling another conference again.
Oh, jeez.
Lots of people are angry, understandably so.
The fans beginning to boo here in the dome, wondering just exactly what the officials are congregating about here.
And you can't really blame them. They already called the play. You're preventing another play from happening. Lots of standing around, lots of momentum, kind of stalling here, just because you're trying to figure out what just happened. Of course, for a play that was already called.
Coach Buck Nystrom had to be restrained down there on the northern sidelines. He was getting pretty heated. It looks like he was about to come out there and give the officials a piece of his mind, but he was wisely held back.
Do we finally have a call? So they spent that whole time trying to figure out specifically where to spot this ball, whether it was the original line of scrimmage or where the penalty happened or where the play was called dead. A lot of conversing for something seemingly so small and frivolous.
The difference there, only 3 yards.
Of course, that 3 yards can make or break your offense. Football is definitely a game of inches.
Bulldogs loading up the defensive line. They'll bring pressure. Giles felt the pressure and just gunned it. He was looking for Dixon that time, but it was well overthrown as he felt the blitz coming from the Ferris State defensive line.
Looks like Dixon was thrown off his route a bit. He was trying to again find either a back shoulder fade or just almost like a post, an outside post, and kind of thrown off a bit. Giles gunned it too early.
You see here, look at the penetration from that Ferris State D-line. Crashing in there was Simpson again for the Bulldogs. So here come the Wildcats on 2nd and 10. This time they'll feed it to Mayon. Wanted outside, but made a move back up the middle before he's swarmed. Still picking up about 7 yards, though.
Very positive run. Now it's about 3rd and 3. trying to pick up that key first down. Now it'd be interesting to see if they throw or trying to run it again here on 3rd and short. Do you try and take a shot towards the end zone or just try and pick up this first down, Max? What do you think?
It's all about just getting the first down here, Don, I think. With about 2.5 to play, Wildcats need to get on the board, but also can't leave the Bulldogs with enough time to come down and answer before they defer. Giles wanted downfield. He'll keep it himself. And inside the 10-yard line, stopped down at the 6 was Giles. Was looking downfield. He had Lutsis and Rayvon Johnson running outside posts, trying to get open in the corner. Didn't have either of them, kept it himself, tucked it, ran, and now it's a 1st and goal for the Wildcats. See, he's throwing all the way, looking for Lutsis and Johnson before finally getting brought down at the 6. Back down on the field, it's Mayon. Cuts to the inside, and a great job to wrap him up that time by the safety.
Now, for the Wildcat offense, you have a lot of options here. You can either try and do a play action and just have Giles just roll out and try and score there, or you can hand it off to one of your 2 very, very staunch running backs in Jake Mayon and DeAndre Caldwell.
Sintel Williams did a great job staying home that time, not allowing Mayon to punch it into the end zone. They'll feed him again. Cuts to the inside, dives forward, and there's a Wildcat touchdown. It's Jake Mayon, the senior.
And the crowd is on their feet. They're definitely feeling it. The energy is just electric here in the stadium. Finally a touchdown here, 21-9, Bulldogs.
That is the 4th touchdown run for Jake Mayon on the season. He's punched 1 in every game so far this year, as we see some great edge blocking, and Mayon would not be denied as he gets into the end zone.
There's a flag on the play. It looks like maybe illegal substitution. Too many men on the field.
Wildcats again are penalized for an illegal substitution, this time on the point after.
And that's just a lack of awareness. They've had a couple penalties like this, and it just makes no sense. I mean, just know what you're doing, be confident in what you're doing, and just get it done.
That'll move back the PAT by about 5 yards. Reiser, perfect on PATs this year. He's 10 for 10. Make that 11 for 11.
Definitely something very, very positive leading into the locker room here for halftime. Scoring right before halftime, definitely one of the best things you can do for your team.
So the Wildcats take 11 plays to go 75 yards and finally punch it into the end zone for the first time today.
Eating up a lot of that clock, trying not to get it in the hands of this dangerous Bulldogs offense.
This Bulldogs offense is extremely dangerous. They've possessed the ball only 4 times. The Wildcats, this is something they struggled with. It's one of their strengths, but they struggled with it last week against Grand Valley State. Time of possession, clock management. When you have backs like DeAndre Caldwell and Jake Mayon, they play a very old-fashioned style of offense with a lot of handoffs, a lot of run-pass options, and when you have 3 guys that can run the football, especially your quarterback like Giles, time of possession is a very important element of this Wildcat offense.
It's quintessential vintage collegiate offense there. Trying to run as much as you can, power it right through the middle, try and pick up as many yards as you can, and then throw in the option there too.
There's the boot from Reiser. And allowing it to go into the end zone is Deshaun Thrower.
Looks like he was waiting for it to go out of bounds. That would result in a penalty, and it did not. Bulldogs will take over at the 20-yard line.
So the Bulldogs will have 1 minute, 24 seconds, and 1 timeout to work with. They did defer to the second half, so we'll see what Coach Tony Anness wants to do here, if he wants to be aggressive and try and score before the half. And it looks like he does. Campbell looks to throw all day. He steps up in the pocket, completes it.
That is penetration that you definitely need by this Wildcats defense, and they had pretty much none on that play. Very up-tempo offense, and they just had all day to step back and throw it.
Completed over the middle to Keandre Craig. He looks for it again, and he's got another man open over the middle. This time it's Dion Earls who picks up a first down, and remember, in college, that'll stop the clock until the chains move.
Looks here at the defense, not trying to necessarily stop this offense, just keep them inbound and eat up that clock.
Campbell looks deep, and this one's picked off. No, it was dropped. Making a great play on the ball that time was the junior cornerback Nick Barnes, who came up just empty trying to make an interception.
Pretty sure he made almost just the same exact play during the home opener, this time in the red zone. In week 1. This time, very key interception drop, but still, very nice play.
He got a great read on Campbell's eyes, and as soon as he threw the football, Barnes was all over it, just couldn't come down with it, as this time Campbell will tuck it and run, and he's got plenty of room to do so before being met by Troy Mayon as he crosses the 50. So another first down, the Bulldogs getting dangerously close to Day Turl's field goal range. Play action.
Only rushing 3 this time.
Campbell calm and collected in the pocket. Makes one man miss before he's met promptly.
Wildcats are playing zone. A lot of zone here. Just trying to make sure they cover the guys downfield. Don't give up a stupid penalty way down the field, and don't give up a touchdown. This time they get burned on a good pickup.
It was the senior linebacker Terrell Johnson who stopped a big pickup from Campbell on the ground this time. See there, he doesn't bite on the pump fake at all, gets low and wraps him up around the legs. A textbook tackle from the senior.
If you were to publish a dictionary about football, that would definitely be in it. That's how you make a tackle in this situation. That is situation football right there.
Just got low and wrapped him up around the legs. So we see head coach Tony Anness burns his final timeout to stop the clock on a run that didn't gain much, with 21 seconds still to play in the first half.
Seems as if they're hoping for a big play here. Get your potent offense refueled. Try to take some shots downfield. You have 21 seconds left. Your offense is turning out first down after first down here.
Ferris State offense firing on all cylinders. This, of course, their 5th timeout. They've scored 3 touchdowns and missed 1 field goal. Was the only time they came away with no points. Here comes Campbell out of the gun. Steps up in the pocket. Looks to make a throw, and it's off target that time. Throwing on the run. He was aiming for Cy Barnett, who caught the touchdown earlier. Just couldn't quite get him. Too high.
Some different defensive looks here by the Wildcats. First time they were rushing 3, put the rest out in coverage, try and get them down, don't let them score. This time they're rushing 4 and blitzing that time, so going a bit aggressively on the defense.
3rd down and 7 from the 45. Play action. Campbell finally scrambles. There comes the pressure, and he throws it away.
He had about 10 years to throw that football. He had all day and then some.
Finally getting to him was the senior defensive lineman, Chet Maxey. He rolled all the way out to his left, and when he saw Maxey coming, wisely just got rid of the football. So now, 4th down, 3 seconds on the game clock. No reason not to take a shot at the end zone here.
Here's what I do. Rush probably 2 or 3, a middle linebacker or 2, and then the rest defensive backs. Make sure you cover every single one of their guys. Don't worry about running it.
Troy Mayon lines up to meet the bunch. Campbell rolls out to his right. Steps into his throw. It's up and picked off. Troy Mayon comes down with it. As time expires, however, so the Wildcats won't get a chance to capitalize on the turnover, but still, that's Campbell's first interception on the season.
It's a key one there. They definitely made a statement, this Wildcats defense did, against this very potent Bulldogs offense. Very good things to carry over into the locker room during halftime, both scoring and defensively.
So with the score, 21 Bulldogs, Wildcats 10, we'll step aside for the halftime show and homecoming festivities from the Superior Dome.
Represented by her husband, Daniel Alcala, Kim Storm was a four-time All-American, first major mark when she set multiple AIAW records in 1982. A year later, she was an NCAA Division II national qualifier, earning All-American honors in multiple events. In 3 seasons with the Wildcats, Heather Sarnowski finished 3,434 assists. She holds the top 2 assist seasons in program history and holds a record of 13.36 assists per set. She finished her career being named an All-American in 1997. She part of the 1936 NW football team. Dick Allen was starting running back of the squad that finished the season undefeated. 2 years later, in 1958, Allen was named an All-American after leading the team in rushing and scoring. Allen was also a 4-year medal winner in track and field for the Wildcats. Earning 3 letters from 1983 to 1985, Tim Jones won region championship honors and arrived at becoming the NCAA Division II national runner-up and an All-American after 167-pound weight class in 1984. In 1985, he was named the team's MVP. A former team captain of the NW football team, John LeBlanc, a 3-time letterman of the Wildcats in 1961, 1962, and 1963. To finish his career in a Wildcat uniform, LeBlanc was named an honorable mention All-American in 1963. With a 27-3 record, 1997, 1998, Northern Michigan women's basketball team advanced to the NCAA Division II semifinals after winning the Great Lakes Intercollegiate Athletic Conference
As part of Homecoming 2018, 5 Northern graduates were honored this morning at an award ceremony hosted by the NU Alumni Association. This year's award winners are recipients of Distinguished Alumni, Alumni Achievement, Outstanding Young Alumni, and Alumni Community Service Awards. Keith Nelson is a 1986 NU graduate and Executive Vice President, General Counsel, and Corporate Secretary for Best Buy. He earned his law degree from the University of Wisconsin. Active in his community, he serves on several boards, is active as a law student mentor and youth sports coach, as well as his company's diversity and inclusion initiatives. Scott Schroeder was a 1990 graduate and retired after 25 years of service in the federal government. He was most recently acting president and chairman of the Export-Import Bank of the United States. He also worked in the Michigan House of Representatives and served as chief of staff for Congressman Martin Stewart. Michelle Butler is a 2-time NU graduate and is currently co-owner of Bangor's Restaurant Company. She has provided an invaluable training center for young people at the high school college level and has mentored other business leaders and countless NU students over the years. She is also well known as an ardent and active supporter of community and region. Michelle has been honored many times for her service and contributions, including one of Rotary International's highest honors, the service above self-care. That noted an announcement in 2008 launched her jewelry business out of the corner of her kitchen. Just 4 years after graduating, Beth's business was thriving and she made the transition to a brick-and-mortar location in downtown Manhattan. Beth is dedicated to giving back to her community and gives back to local nonprofits as well as any art design programs. Scott Patrick graduated from NU in 1996. She is the Los Angeles County Library Director, one of the major libraries of the nation, providing services to over 3.4 million residents. Scott has made it a mission to break down barriers and increase access for all. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2018 Alumni Association Award winners. Let's give them a big round of applause. Northern University has over 73,000 alumni residents. At this time, we want to recognize all NU alumni in attendance today by asking you to stand. Please give these NU alumni a round of applause. A special round of applause to graduates who are working NU football and summer orientation staff and unions. Thanks for coming home for Homecoming 2018. It's always a great day to be alive. As
The Wildcat Band continues its halftime show with a special